Good morning, bonjour, buonasera. Welcome to Life's Questions and Lessons. I'm your host, Charity Youngblood, and I am so excited and grateful that you are here with me today. This podcast is unedited because life is unedited. As always, we'll get started with a question and whatever activity you engage in to explore your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, please feel free to do. So today's first question is, how can I eliminate distractions disguised as opportunities? How can I eliminate distractions disguised as opportunities? So I have a colleague that I am connected with through Lean In MSP. It's a fantastic organization and community. And she reached out to me. She is a listener of the podcast and a supporter of the podcast. And we do talk pretty frequently as well, at least once a month, or we definitely try to connect at least once a month. And one of the things that she mentioned that I, really needed to bring to the podcast is she mentioned one area of, where this question actually came from, getting distracted by things that she's interested in, but aren't necessarily helping her reach her goals. I don't know about you, but I absolutely resonate with that. Absolutely. There are so many things that we want to do or that catch our eye or we hear about, especially in personal growth, or if you're trying to build something on the side, if you're trying to engage in a new activity, just continuously grow in this journey. There's always something, right? And so I really wanted to bring this to the podcast because, for one, I know that I'm not the only person who struggles with that. I know she's not the only person who struggles with that. And the way that I actually, that it came up for me is distractions disguised as opportunities. So as you're exploring this question, one question that actually might be more helpful to answer prior to how can I eliminate distractions disguised as opportunities is, how often do I say yes to things? Or an even easier or more simple way to think of it is, do I find it difficult to say no to people or to activities? Do I find it difficult to say no? So I'll give you an example. For most of us, our time is kind of split between our work, 8 to 10 hours, however many hours you work, and then with our family, our friends, our personal life. So if you're think about at work, if your boss, if your colleague, if your coworker, your employee, if they ask you to do something, what is your first response? Is your first response yes, or is your first response no? Also, thinking about friends. If your friend asks you to do something, is your first response a yes, or is your first response a no? And I'm talking about that knee-jerk response. And I have a feeling, this is obviously not a scientific study, but if you have a problem saying no, that's really where you want to start. So for me, when I really started eliminating distractions purposefully and with intention, it really did start when I said no. When I found myself saying, okay, if I say yes to everything, I'm saying no to me. And I'm not okay with saying no to me. So I really challenge you to explore this. And it's not really about, judging yourself or, oh my gosh, I do say yes to everything. It's really not that. We want to remember to be curious when we're asking ourselves these questions. And I'm hoping that this will help kind of unveil some of the layers of distractions, because let's be honest, a distraction that's disguised as an opportunity means it might be something that's really, really interesting. So it really might be something that you want to say yes to eventually. But if you are, really focused on a goal, you want to move forward towards that goal. And what sometimes will happen is if we're saying yes to something over here on the side, that means we're saying no to that path to our goal or to that particular next step on the path to our goal. So another way to think about this is if you have a problem, if you're exploring these questions, you're like, yeah, it is really difficult for me to say no to people, or it is really difficult for me to say no to certain opportunities. Why? Why is it difficult for me to say no? And I really challenge you to dig into that. If that's where you're getting stuck, you'll absolutely want to start there. So definitely don't want to overwhelm you. I think that's enough questions. But I'm really hopeful that this will be helpful for you. This has really, really helped me focus on what's important in my life over the past. Honestly, I've probably been working primarily on eliminating distractions disguised as opportunities over the past 5 or 6 years. And it, I would say above all, has had the most profound effect on my life for sure. So thank you as always for listening. Thank you for being here. Please rate or review this podcast wherever you are listening. If this episode was helpful, please share it. We are here to help each other. If you haven't heard that today, I will remind you that is why we are here on this planet, to help each other, to lift each other up. So until next time, take care.